Good morning, everyone. This is TheoSophia. I read through all your messages, and I'm very touched about how concerned everyone was, and I appreciate all your thoughts. But I was having an experience. I wasn't having the flu or the COVID or whatever else someone's mind. Um, I was growing. And as the experience of the growing got to its end, uh, I'm going to do today what I was asked for. Let's to have conversation. That more than giving you visuals and touching you for a second or a moment with the profound light, to let's merge our hearts into one and let's talk about that which you don't know. Let's talk about that which you want to know. Let's talk about the fears that hold you back or tell you, oh, no, no. The only way we're going to grow and to overcome consciousness, which is what it is, and is to have a conversation. So my purpose of being here now is to, for those of you who are ready and willing, I'm going to be here for you for that. So I did sit with my life message cards today and thought it would be a good way to start a beginning. And you can see the word was consciousness. And I'm sure no matter who you are, you still have well, what is that? What does that mean? And this says that today I pay attention to every thought and feeling that I must manifest. My outer world reflects my inner consciousness. I pour the light of my awareness on my most constructive thoughts so they will grow and produce the experiences I want. Mindful of what I create in this universe, I become an expression of the divine light. And whether or not you've really grasped that or not, that is why you're here. And the word that the Pistis Sophia says as many times as it can is you're all chosen. You know, you're not choosing it. God has chosen you to be an example, to be a radiance of his light in the world, and to find peace in all of that. So sometimes when we think of it that way, we're wondering, well, what am I doing to own all that which has been given? And that is a very powerful question. Some of us, we choose to go into fear later. I'll figure it out later. Well, I'm hearing that later is now. And there's nothing to be frightened of because it is all about love. It's a love that is deeper than you've probably touched or can even conceive of. It's an embracing experience of light that illuminates everything and expands everything and makes it all so much more. Isn't the word, it's endless. So there you go. You know, the pistis is about Christ after he ascended. And he came back on the mountain to speak to 11 disciples. And were they just the ones that we know of? No, they were different. There were 3 women. And as we go through and hear him talk, we'll get to know who they are. But he was trying to help them understand also that even though while you're still in your human form, there is a light you hold, a light you carry, a light to be contemplated on. How are you putting that into the world? Consciousness, what is it? Consciousness is every breath we take, every thought we have. every inhale, out, exhale, smile, anger. It makes up the wholeness of who you are and how much of that divine experience of your truth of light gets to shine in each moment. Or whether it takes you down that journey of the ego, which we all know takes us down into the hole of separation. And maybe that's where some have been. I don't know. But there is no separation. It's an illusion. And if we give that empowerment to that, then we become lost. So here we are, the weekend of the 4th of July. Let's sing out our independence to our light. That we want to know more. We want to experience more. We want to give it a greater ability of light to not only touch ourselves, but to touch all those things out there that perceive to be broken. We're living in a world now that on one level could be perceived broken, and yet in God's level, it has a perfection. So you may say to me, well, TheoSophia, what do we do about that? What we do is know that the earth is within us. And where is it that we ourselves are not yet in peace? Where is it within ourselves that we're fearful and we're wanting to hold tight onto power? You know, our growth and our steps forward have nothing to do with power. Absolutely nothing. It has to do more with our faith. And certainly there could be those of you who, well, isn't that power? No, divine power doesn't have a need or a desire. It is. Your threefold flame, which is around you, is your wisdom in front of you, the profound love on your right, and its divine power on your left. It's not the power of the fist. And perhaps you've been raised or learned or taught that's how you get ahead. You can continue to work with that and see how that works for you. But we're going to maybe learn and talk about a different way. So I'm going to go to the bottom here in case anyone has a question, you can write it in. Because it isn't just about, conversation isn't about just me talking. It's about us having a conversation. Hello, Andrew, Cavell, Gina, Marby, Barbara. So many of you, even those messages have touched and wanted you to have a capacity to know more. So my experience has taken me on a courageous journey to know that I am to sit here and be that vessel for you for a moment, to perhaps bring answers to the many questions, because there's a great heart here that grows when we're all together, and I know you all feel it. It's not just my love, it's the love of all of us. And as we come and sit together, it continues to grow. So our intention is going to be to observe that love. And as we're each a participant, and we add our love freely into it, we're going to watch it grow and see where it goes. There's no have to, no determination other than owning your consciousness and your growth. So we know we've changed consciousness when we've changed how we think about things. Have you ever had that happen? All of a sudden, like here, we're changing how we think about how, when we come together, what we do. So consciousness has grown. This channel has grown. That's why I originally named it TheoSophia Rising. We are rising, all of us. So, And to know there is no illness is one of our bigger things. Illness is, as it precedes itself, an illusion, a diseased thought. So when we can begin to become where we know that we are whole and illumined, then there can be no diseased thought that can find its experience in life to live through us. All these wonderful things. So I'm so happy to see many of you here. Christina, Gina, MKZ, Carrie, good morning, Joanna, Chase. Let me know how you feel about this. I was reading through the beginning of the book, wanting to find the perfect thing that might touch everyone's hearts this morning. And do you remember I mentioned that you were chosen? Well, on page 64, this is what is written to you from Jesus' words. And these powers have been given to you before the rest of humanity. For you are the ones who will save humanity, and to allow you to be able to endure the threat of the archons, which are the negative, and the sufferings of the world and its dangers and all of its persecutions, which the archons of the height will bring upon you. So it's saying to you from the beginning, we're all going to have challenges. We're all going to have times when we don't know what and who to turn to. But who we do know to turn to will become very simple. We will turn to first our inner faith within us and God, who is called the ineffable, and Christ. So as we become to where we have a foundation and not just out there not knowing where to go or what to do or how to think, things will change. I've told you many times before the powers within you. He has brought the 12 saviors who are in the treasury of light. And he goes through a process of telling you and reminding you how to begin to use all these for yourself. It isn't about competitive, one being better than another. It's about understanding that we are all one. And where did that thought get lost, right? And if you just came on, welcome to Conversations we're having about God and the light and what that can be and is for each of you. And here's another saying. I'm saying to you from the beginning that in truth you're not of the world, nor am I. All beings who are in the world have received their souls from the power of the archons. But the power which is in you is from me, and your souls belong to the height, meaning heaven. The 12 powers of the 12 saviors of the 12 treasury of light I have brought, taking them from the portion of my power which I received in the beginning. So he's here to help. He's here to be a part of your life. And in doing so, is going to have you discover that part of you within you. So, still no questions, my goodness. Yes. And what is a message? A message is that which comes as I see you upon your journey. So today we're doing it a little bit differently and beginning to understand what being on the journey really means. It means being here and participating. It's not just the moment when you pray or have actions that you've learned and clearings that you do and working with your chakras. There's an aliveness now to bring to it. That when you go, let's say, to your heart chakra and you begin to open it, what is that true intention? What's held in that heart chakra? A great love. A great love from a depth that you can't even conceive of yet. And the more you touch it within a level all, the more it will respond to you. For each time you do, it knows it's acknowledged and will give more. Interesting concept, isn't it? That when we treat something extra special, then there's an extra specialness that evolves out through it. All right. No questions. Good morning, Prime 3. However, when even irritating souls of light into the lower worlds have a difficult task, this is unfortunate that the thought process on this planet is basically controlled by these powers. And for this reason, in spite of all the Messiah types and all the Buddha types and all the Krishna types on earth, humanity is still in a zone of isolation. Yeah, let's think of that. What does that mean? Okay, so we have a question from Barbara. Listening very intently. The challenge is, how do we always stay at that level of consciousness all the time? You must understand it's not a requirement. At first, you may only be able to for 20%. But the more that you can see and hear yourself and know that you're thinking differently and you're putting something different into the consciousness of yourself, the more you will do it, and the more you will do it, and you'll begin to recognize that life is changing. How you sit and allow it to happen to you is changing, and you are raising consciousness. It's keeping thoughts positive. It's not allowing that ego to pull you down into a fear. When you can begin to do that, it will become more and more and more. Okay, thank you, Barbara. I hope that's helping. But even beginning to listen here today and to hear how it's positive, there's a goodness that people have said to me that I am too quiet and don't say much when conflict surrounds me. Well, there's an answer to that. What is the purpose of your quietness? I would understand, hopefully, that your quietness is a understanding of allowing people to find their way. If it's to retreat away from the conflict, then that is an issue within yourself that you must address your fear. Because fear has been given too much power. And what I have said, I will say again, fear from the ego will take you down into separation, which it sounds to me you feel separate from people, but really, we're all a mirror for everybody else. So all those people who think you're too quiet and don't speak up, that's really perhaps a pattern from within them. And when a day comes and you're assured that that's not your issue, then you need to know it's still coming because it's their issue. And love them for that. For just as you decided to understand and to learn it, so they will too. So when conflict comes around me, let's look at that for a moment. First, I must become aware of my emotional state. Emotions are in those lower 4 chakras. They're part of your personality. Now, there's emotions, and then there's feelings. Feelings come from your heart. Where are you really at with what's happening? And if you're having an emotional response, then you must own it as your own and therefore do a healing upon yourself and embracing. Let it show you why. And perhaps there'll be another lifetime or a different experience that the memory's about. Keep calling in the light, and the light will support you. Now, let's say you're not really in emotions. Then perhaps you're standing in a place of courage for other people to understand there really isn't a conflict in front of people, but it's their need to have attention. Lots of different possibilities. But the most important one for us to be aware of is if we're having the emotional response and if we need to tend to ourselves, to our own issue. But if you get to where, well, you know it's not yours, then you can excuse yourself. Or I wouldn't attempt to be the one who speaks, well, this is what's going on yet, unless you've evolved to that point. But first and foremost, let's begin to believe and know ourselves in that situation. Let's begin to have that reading of what's our emotional state doing? Is it a divine feeling? Is there an excitement about someone's growing? And I need to let them have that role they're on, you see? Okay. Thank you for your good wishes. As you're going to find Prime 3, Hector, I was on a huge healing path. And here we are today. So I won't be giving you a message. We're having a conversation. So if you would like to join, please feel free. And for those who aren't into what we're talking about, I'm sorry that you didn't enjoy it. But there's so much about all these actions and reactions and how you see yourself and have that all become a part of the world that I'm attempting to be here to help you understand how that looks. And Kathy's saying, thank you. All right. So let me go ahead and let the book point things out here. And perhaps I'll pick another card. I've found over the years that these cards are quite miraculous. When I first evolved out of the space, I couldn't, there was just so much space of light. Well, this is a good thought. Because what we do is we begin to know we're never alone. And you may not want to say that here today. And I'll get to your question in a minute, Barbara. Thank you. But you have to know God's walking there. He'll pick you up if he has to. He'll hold your hand and walk side to you, or he'll allow you to be free. My bond with God and the angels is a flame that illuminates my heart. I want you all to really feel that if you can. My bond with God and the angels is a flame that illuminates my heart. Regardless of the darkness around me, this bond is the foundation of my inner strength. It allows me to go on, having faith that all things will fall into divine order for my greatest benefit. You know, there are those people that always say, God's got my back. I want you to take a moment and take it to another level of reality. God does have your back. Can you feel that difference? It's not just a thought. It's a truth. And that's how we begin to understand truth and what they are, is we can feel the frequency is different. God has my back. And now I want you to know, deep inside you, God's got yours too. We're no different. I ask the universe for guidance, knowing I will always receive its help and protection. Today the sun will rise and shine for me. I'm never alone. You know, it is something we do all know. The sun rises, sun sets. It will always come again. But there's also that place from inside our hearts where we can say, I am the light of the sun that radiates out into the world. I am that radiance that touches people's souls and allows it to awaken and embrace them, and to feel fullness and to know there's so much more than themselves, the humanness. There's a spirit that's alive and well. There's a spirit, Holy Spirit, that is always existence. All right. Yes, there was a question. So Barbara's asking, so what do we do if someone attacks us? Do we respond in love, but set boundaries as to what you will accept or stay quiet? Well, this is a very interesting question. First and foremost, because the word attack does exist in our world, I would guide you to always be prepared every day, many times, to put protection around you. And then you are going to go back to the basic I shared with you. If you have an emotional response to an attack, then you must go inside. What are you saying out there to be drawing this attack to you? What are you resonating in consciousness that's out there and it's saying, come attack me, I need to learn. Come attack me, I need to learn. And yes, it does happen. But now if that isn't the response, then you need to bless people for where they are and allow your protection to protect you. So, why are the reasons that people feel that it's important that they feel the attack? Well, we have something called karma going on out there. And sometimes we have to resolve karma to be able to move forward. And it's a natural existence. You can always use the violet flame if you want to blaze through that and know that it can be transformed without having to have action. But do you see, you might not think highly of yourself if you believe that anyone can just come and attack you with words, God forbid, with actions. So this speaks to me that perhaps there's a part of value within yourself that you need to own. What is the greatest piece that you have of God to be able to radiate into the world right now, right this moment? What would it be? Mine would be my heart and the love it holds. What would yours be? I will say, I would doubt. And the only reason people would still attack me is because they didn't understand it. And I must love them for that. But I also know that as God loves me, it would not hurt me. It would not harm me. So there is no being afraid of it. Yes, I've lived these things. That's how I can speak of them so confidently. I've been under that attack, thrown around the room. Oh, how'd that happen to you? because I and others that were there needed to know. The gold light of God came and made it all better. It wasn't about me. It was about something inside them. And we are all participants in helping the whole grow. Yes, let me see. I haven't looked over here for a moment. And the way you say stay quiet, Barbara, I wouldn't. It's not about a hiding. No. I would have the strength about yourself continue to grow, and that bond between you and God to continue to grow in a loving, profound way that no one else can bring harm to it. How dare they? And it's not that we're bringing attack back towards them. We bring love to them to know. They have no idea. I believe there's an old statement, they have no idea that which they do, because they can't harm you when you hold that true experience of God's love. So, Mar, I see that you would like your message, but my message to you is going to be putting one step in front of another in the faith, calling God in to be your partner. And when you make choices, ask your heart and let it guide you. All right? I just was explained to me there's so much more I can offer you other than just a message. It's about a way of life, a way of understanding that you and God are here together. That many of you have been on the path and have an understanding of God, and it's an option to even have it grow more, to become more part of all the cells of who you are. There's 144,000 pieces of you here to heal. How far are you? So together, we're going to move very far, somewhat quickly, and allow it to be so. So let me see, I had a few other things marked here. So Jesus' presence, which will become more in your world, once it's initiated, begins to bring confusion and confound those who created misconceptions of evolution. This is kind of what we were just talking about. The negative higher-ups believe that they're in control. But Jesus exposes their limitation, and isn't that an interesting word? That when those kind of actions are taken, they are limiting to the greater continuum of life, beyond the immediate ordering of forms, which is secondary encasements of life. The TheoSophia is demonstrating that through a higher faith or connection with the divine world, which God and Christ represent, the bonds that can be loosened that you're tied up in, and you can break free from the power to the realm of fate, which has bound our consciousness to the earth. It has kept us as species and as individuals from evolving on a conscious level. In our realm, unless we apply a great deal of energy in our life to search, using a higher faith, accepting that a greater reality does exist, we cannot truly evolve. However, if we do, We can achieve a liberated consciousness coordinated with the divine energy realms. Powerful. Very, very powerful. Our soul has the potential to be released to cross the regions of the mysteries, the power of the aeons, and the pre-material foundations, the hierarchies of the mid and lower heavens, in charge of the material experimentations, and eventually find the treasure of life. Do you remember when they were all looking for the promised land? Aren't we all still looking? Moses took them for years, and then Joshua took over. Joshua, a name known for Jesus. I believe we can all find that promised land. That's light. Light and embracing and full of life. It's amazing. It's a treasure that purifies and evolves us into light and thus can participate in all the realms. How about that? Well, I'm going to pull one more card. Very interesting. A door to the infinite. You see where the door is? Over the heart. Let's see what the message is. At my heart center, there is a door that leads to the infinite. Today, I visit my heart center and open that door. As I enter, I experience a deep sense of serenity. And I understand that I am eternal and that I am indestructible. From here, I can see beyond my life's challenges to the higher levels of my existence. I know now that my inner light is infinite. So my prayer is that for this week, maybe in 2 weeks, this is going to become a value treasure inside you. That you have a door to the infinite. And maybe it's already wide open. But maybe you don't know where to go from there. A door that leads to the infinite. I visit my heart center and I open that door. And if it's open it wider. You experience a deep sense of serenity. And I'll share with you a gift God gave to me at times when something challenging would come. And probably from past experience, I would have just went to pieces. There would be this frequency come to me, and it was the blue light of serenity. And it would come down through my crown and bring such a profoundness of calmness. It's like nothing happened. And I remember the first time it occurred, I sat there like, what have I done? Am I just in a pretend world? But no, it took away the need for the trauma that whatever it was about to cause, instead of me remembering who I am and what I am, and that who really loved me, which was God. Numerous times these things occur, and then we allow ourselves to become lost. But if we can get to where, even if we call on the light of serenity, it is a light blue, and we can allow that to come down over the top of us and just encapsulate the distortion, the dysfunction, the illusion, the lie. Because it is never anything that can be true about the love you are. No matter if something's saying it or something showing it, it is not a truth, for you are the love that you are. There is absolutely no doubt in my heart. So, if this is one thing that will help you, then many blessings to you. And in this way, we are going to begin to grow together as we not only have messages, and you see, they're just but a moment of experience. It's more about learning how we interact, how we contemplate, what we think, that really makes the shift in the consciousness that is even the greater supportive experience of what is. So let me check here for a moment. So I hope you're not all disappointed about not messages today, because we really did get a lot of profound messages for that you can each use and respond in a different way, however it fits you, right? I can't tell who's here and who's left. So let me see, what is our time? Okay. Christina offers a profound message. Thank you for your presence, Mother. I am realizing that I had an attachment to your healing messages in the form that we received them in the past. My perception of guidance and healing is definitely being elevated today. Much love. And that's so powerful. So, so powerful. Sometimes we get so in a certain way, and I'm not going to even use the words S-T-U-C-K, that we don't allow our consciousness to grow and see something new and in a new way. So, very powerful, Christina. Thank you for sharing. Yes, Barbara, it's a great tool to have. But there are so many. Good morning, Yolanda. But there are so many that exist. And when you're showing that you are of the mindset that you want to grow, you want to learn how to be a part of this love that you are and give it action and function in this world. More will come. Carrie says, thanks, we got a good message. I hope you did carry many blessings. So, I have a thought coming in my head. So let's talk about the little tykes, the children. Let me see here a couple things. I love this format and that we're using this time to expand our consciousness. Thank you for your wisdom. You're very welcome, but no, it was truly a God thing. I learned a few things from this viewing. I realize I am not running away. I just will not participate in anger. Wow, that's a profound statement. I have chills all over. I am not running away. I will just not participate in anger. And let your anger be the teacher that speaks to you as to why it's there. All these things that we have, each of us unique and different, sadness, whatever it is, it's a teacher in the moment. It's too much in this world that we've been taught that they're bad and get rid of them. No, it's purposeful. It's a part of you. But when you can embrace and have conversation and understand, you grow. There's an expansion and an understanding and an illumination of the love that you are, which has already been God-given to each and every one of you. Remember, You have been chosen. And in that, then we are chosen to be that which will be seen on a soul level by many people. And wondering, oh, how are you so calm? How do you find peace? Because we loved ourselves. We chose to love it instead of ignore it. Right? So God's been taking us through a process here of angels and then to higher beings. And recently it's been a lot of people from above heaven. So we know that all exists. And now we're being asked to now love ourselves. So much that we can have a message about that development that we can grasp and not hammer into our head, but love into our head. Choose to love you. Begin to know the difference in the frequency between you and that of the ego. You'll get to know it really quickly because it always takes you downward slope, and we don't want that anymore. We want to continue to go up that stairwell and to allow our DNA to continually uplift itself. You know, the truth is awaiting you. It's not that it has to be prepared. It's only you that have to choose to do. Interesting thought, isn't it? Greetings to you too, Kim C. So, I'm going to draw my final card for today. My heart feels very full, and I will probably have a good cry when I'm done. Oh, I love this card. Hope. What a profound card, hope. It's a beautiful image, isn't it? Perhaps that's each of you in your individualization, standing there on that rock having hope. So, as I enter the great school of life, I hold tight to my faith in God. God's love guides me and guards me in every situation I encounter. Regardless of what I confront, I trust in my true nature. Today, I welcome life. I know the light will always return, and there will always be infinite possibilities for me. You know, the thing I loved about these cards is they always take whatever we've talked about it and bring it into a wholeness. And that is what we've talked about today. So, may there be great hope inside all of the hearts. Yes, we're going to do this Tuesdays and Fridays. So if a question comes up, write it down. I'm going to be here for all of you. And God will be here for all of us. How's that? And Mother, and there's a great excitement in the heavens. So, wonderful celebration, not only for the 4th of July, but perhaps on you having a new perception of yourself and of raising consciousness. So, I will see you on Tuesday at 11. Many blessings.